here.
He's falling off.
Do 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 do.
Oh, wait, I have to turn it on, don't I? Works better.
Oh yeah,
Good Lord.
it is.
Is it Friday? Please tell
It
me.
is
it's
officially freaking Friday Eve today. Get ready for the weekend. Start early. That's always my plan. Start early. First thing, here's your plan. First thing you got to do, plan for your meals. Amazing how much of our lives revolves around food. It wasn't always like that. I look around, grab something, cook it up, eat it, wash dishes, and move on, right?
Right.
Never did we do this one little 5-letter word.
That would be
Savor.
savor. Oh, you bring up a very valid
That
point.
is a great word.
Right.
When I start thinking about meals and all the work that you put into it, if you do it right, instead of taking it out of the freezer, sticking it in a nuker, pulling it out, burning your tongue, then eating it, and then throwing the stuff in the trash.
Understand?
The one word you're missing is savor.
Savor. Take the time to savor.
Yeah, the day after doing something, I can't even remember what I ate last night. If it's the morning after, sometimes about 10 o'clock at night when I get ready for a bowl of ice cream or a chocolate chip cookie or a slice of key lime pie or whatever I got around the house, I say, what did we eat? What did we have for supper? I think I have to think about it for a minute. Okay, yeah, that stuff. No, I don't have to do that anymore because I cook stuff that I like.
And we were talking earlier before the show, and we were talking about cooking and food. And I was talking about how hard it is to cook for just one person.
It is.
It's so hard to
do. That's kind of like how I really learned to cook all by my lonesome.
Right.
And then I started preparing stuff that I threw away a lot of. And then, then I go to the freezer and get something and, whatever. But
I'm not good at eating a lot of leftovers.
Oh, I love
I'll
leftovers.
eat 'em.
I make them different.
Well, it's just like I told you, I'll make a pasta dish and I make a really small dish. So, like for one person. And then, I'll eat half of that because that's all I can eat. And then I'll save the other half for the next night. Past that, I don't want to keep eating the same dish every night.
Okay, so the leftover shrimp that I prepared last night, and
that's different.
And the leftover scallops that I prepared last night, and the leftover zucchini that I prepared last night, and the onions and peppers that I prepared last night. You don't want those, do you?
That's different.
And those that leftover chocolate chip cookies that I just couldn't get down. You don't
That's different. I mean, like I'm saying, for myself to cook, and
it's all right to eat somebody else's leftovers. In other words,
yeah. Well, that's different, especially the shrimp. Oh my gosh.
Today, I like to have some basic, healthy stuff. That's the reason I think that's the reason.
Yes.
Really, the real reason. My wife a few weeks ago gave me a Blackstone thing so that the food that I cook will be healthy food.
Nice.
And lately, about the only thing I could get in the way of shrimp were frozen, which is that's the way it is. Better than nothing. You season it up right and don't overcook it. I can make it okay. But I stopped yesterday because I had to go to my dentist over there to see the point. And on the way back, I stopped in Swansboro and I grabbed me a pound of fresh shrimp. Came back.
Nice.
I took the shells off and I almost butterflied them. But when I cut the back. For you guys who say, okay, I've got to devein the shrimp, you go out and you buy that fancy little deveining tool. No, get yourself a steak knife, one with the serrated edges. And after you peel it, take it and score it down the back, the top of it, the round part at the top. Score it, start at the top with the bottom end of the steak knife, the closest to the handle. Start there and slide it all the way down to the other end. That vein will be hanging there for you to just cut off and throw away. Done. Easy way. It's a lot faster than that other thing too, and it works every time. So anyway, that's just a little tip today. Tomorrow's historical notes will include something that happened a few years before I was a lot about from a man who was actually there during that historical event way back in 1942. It's my day in history for tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So we'll see how that goes. We're still in negotiations to bring y'all up to speed. We're still in negotiations because y'all asked about it this morning to get our program back on broadcast radio.
Right.
Something that will allow the masses to tune in as they drive to work every morning. I hear from y'all pretty much every day. Folks saying they would really like to call us, but since they don't take the effort to listen while we're actually live in the mornings, because they're not able to do it in their cars,
Right.
their call would have to come after the animals have left the barn. So that doesn't work when they listen to it later. But it's okay. I love you listening. Wish you could call. Our efforts will pan out sooner than later, or maybe I'll just find us a transmitter. They got a bunch of them on the market these days. Find us our own transmitter. I can crank it up, put her on the air before a pirate like the guys did back in the 1960s. How about that? They call it pirate radio and nothing to do with East Carolina. If the transmitter is kept somewhat mobile or is located offshore, tracking it would be a little difficult. They used to have pirate radio stations that did just that, to put the kind of programming they wanted on the air, and they didn't care about anything else. They just got her done, got her on the air. Okay, now we got a situation out there.
Oh, do tell. Which one?
We've got 3 weeks to go before that hurricane season starts up. Early outlooks for the 25 Atlantic hurricane season suggest another above average season is on the way, so any tropical development before June would likely only boost forecasters' confidence in their sobering predictions. In an outlook released on the 3rd of April, the team of tropical experts at Colorado State University called for 17 named storms this year, 9 of which are expected to become hurricanes. 4 of those hurricanes could reach major status with winds of at least 111 miles per hour. That's a fairly safe bet, okay? That doesn't mean they're going to come to the United States and have just fizzled out. They didn't make just the way things were happening. The first named storm of this year will be Andrea in the Atlantic.
Okay.
Okay. Now we've got... we do have a situation brewing out there right now in the Caribbean, way down. It's not a system yet. It's just a possibility of the first storm of 2025 actually developing before June. There's an area, a suspicious area of a broad area of low pressure. From the Pacific across Central America to Colombia. So they're keeping their eyes on it. We're going to keep our eyes on them, who are keeping their eyes on it. And so we'll keep you up to speed. If it develops, and it develops in the Atlantic, it will become Andrea.
Yeah, I saw that on a couple of meteorologist channels yesterday.
You did everything you could to ignore it, didn't you?
I'm just like, I'm not even dealing with this right now. We just need rain. I just want rain. Yeah, and it looks like, according to my weather report here, that I need to mow my yard like today.
You can do that, and tomorrow, and right after the rain stops again.
Well, yeah, I'd rather mow it while it's dry. And so looks like tomorrow's a good chance for rain.
The Republicans, they don't care who the governor is anymore. That got changed, didn't it?
Yep. And
up until recently, like now, the governor, whatever party he or she was from, which in all but one case in the last bunch of years, it's been from that Democrat party, regardless of who the president was, regardless of who the Republicans put up that ran against anybody. A Democrat was elected. It was just one of them there things. The president could win the state. A Republican could beat take the state as a presidential wannabe. He could win North Carolina. We could have a Republican become the lieutenant governor. And then still, the governor was a Democrat. I still never could quite figure out. It's weird. But anyway, up until now, the governor, there was 5 people, a
Mhm.
5-person board, because it's got men and
Board of
women, a
Elections.
5-person board of elections, the state board of elections. They make the rulings.
Right.
They make the decisions. And generally, quite often it goes right along party lines. Sometimes it goes, everybody votes the same way. And that happens on a lot of boards that y'all don't quite understand. It's not always a split decision along party lines. Sometimes it's unanimous. Many times the votes are unanimous.
Right.
County commissioner, city council, school board, we don't hear about those. Those are consensus votes, what they call consensus votes. Generally, it's going to be a guaranteed, this is the way it's going to happen. No big deal. Nobody's in opposition, right?
Right.
Board of Elections, sometimes the state Board of Elections is sometimes kind of contentious. So the state Board of Elections has been a 3 to 5 Democrats in charge for some time, except when Pat McCrory was
For the
there.
last
For
8
4
years.
Yeah,
Yes.
for 4 years, only 4, and before that, only
Yeah,
one.
Cooper was in there 8 years. So
Yeah, and only one Republican in for 4 years, and that was McCrory.
right. So it's always been a Democrat-controlled board of elections,
except for that 1 4-year period.
except for that 1 4
Now,
years. Right.
Guess what? Still got a Democrat governor, but guess what?
Yes, Senate Bill 382 was passed. It
And
was,
then what happened with that?
that allows the state auditor to make new election board appointments and assume administrative oversight of the board, which took that power away from the governor.
The state auditor
And the state auditor
is
is
a
Republican.
Republican.
So he has
You can't get
appointed
them one way. You Republicans will get them in the back. Well,
2 new members to the board who are Republican.
One's an interesting individual.
And one of them that was voted in by his board to be chairman, I happen to know him personally. You have met him. I believe he was on this show a while back.
Quite some time ago.
It was quite some time ago. He was one of the 16, 17 that ran for Walter Jones's seat when Walter had passed.
Right.
Great guy. He lives in Wilmington. He's from Wilmington.
I had met
Think
him
the
in Wilmington.
world of him. And like I told you, you meet him the first time, you feel like you've known him forever. Francis DeLuca. He is now the chairman of the board for the Board of Elections, which I can't wait because I need to talk to him about an
You got
issue.
things, don't you?
Yes,
You got
about
some
an
issues.
issue with a candidate that ran 5-6 years ago, and having to try to close out his account has been a nightmare.
The State Board of Elections yesterday replaced the executive director. She's been there for a while. We keep hearing the name time and again and again. Karen Brinson Bell. She is now gone from that position, and Sam Hayes.
I know Sam Hayes
the top
too.
lawyer for the GOP's House Speaker. He is the executive director
Yes.
of the State Board of Elections. What kind of changes do you expect will occur? None.
Nothing really, but hopefully they'll get all this voter ID all strengthened. And my biggest complaint about the Board of Elections is dealing with them as far as campaign finance, because they're the ones that handle that.
Well, that's going to always be an issue because you got a whole bunch of amateurs running for election who do not know anything about.
No, my issue was I went in to help somebody that had a treasurer that fumbled it, let's just say. So I went in and did a 2-year audit, straightened everything out, tried to get it closed. And it's just like I talked to somebody there and there's well, just read the emails associated with the account, blah, 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 and you should be able to figure it out. And I'm
no,
like,
I need help from you direct.
You
One-on-one, I can't read.
And it just went on. And the last one I talked to said, well, we've got this big meeting coming up. It was something to do with some kind of issue they were having with the possibility of delaying the primary or something. I forget, it was last year.
Whatever, something.
And he said, as soon as we get through this, I will go to the board, we'll get this fixed, and I'll call you back.
So far, your phone has not rung.
No.
You shouldn't have changed your number.
Well,
I mean,
I have got I have got a diary of emails going back and forth with them,
It's your
trying to
fault.
get this resolved.
Mhm. Okay. Well, I wonder if Chris is. We talked to Chris maybe about coming in today. Today would be a great day for him to slide in here. Or maybe we'll just chat with him on the phone here shortly. Because
Yeah, we'll just have them call in.
we got something coming up out there across the pond.
I'm confused. What? Oh, across the pond.
Involves our
Across the
favorite
pond.
bird,
Yes,
the
yes,
cardinal. So we'll talk
yes.
about that too. So whatever. We had a gentleman and I had two gentlemen, so they're both gentlemen in here. One guy who spent a bunch of years in the jail, possibly
What?
facing some charges that eventually were dropped over after spending some 6 years without being able to get out of jail. Really? Yep. No trial. Couldn't get a trial. And there was a friend of his who retired FBI agent. They came to write about what was going on, and so then we kind of got involved a little bit with it. We aired their story. He got out. They finally said, we don't have enough to bring him to trial, and they kicked it out. There's nothing there. Some of the evidence was not evidence, as it turned out. But anyway, we had him in here, and we're going to talk about that. Kevin Smith and John Legato, the retired FBI agent who got involved not as an FBI agent, but as a friend, family friend. He knew this young Kevin's daddy pretty well, so they were talking about it. And then I said, you know what? They all thought this is a story that is so bizarre what went down. And after I heard it, I said, oh, it's way beyond bizarre. Way beyond bizarre. And so we reached out to a friend of mine, the anchor at WITN, Dave Jordan. I've known him for quite a while, knew his wife.
Right.
She passed some years ago. But anyway, he came down here and spent some time. Several hours interviewing Kevin and John Legato right here. So we facilitated that for them. And now the story is going to run on WITN. It's a 2-part piece. It runs Monday and Tuesday. And Dave was gracious to cut a real quick promo to kind of sum it up a little bit, what was coming up.
This is Dave Jordan from WITN TV. I've been looking into the case of Kevin Smith. The Craven County man had 17 charges filed against him back in 2016 from both Craven and Onslow counties. Serious charges of rape and assaulting prostitutes. He spent nearly 6 years behind bars, but his case never went to trial. All of the felony charges dropped or dismissed. Now Smith and others are asking, how could something like this happen? We'll hear from him, a retired FBI special agent, and also what the district attorneys in Craven and Onslow County are saying, as well as the Craven County Sheriff's Office, coming up on Monday and Tuesday on WITN News at 6.
That's something you guys
It's a fascinating story.
must see TV. This is y'all need to pay attention to it. Could it happen to you? Absolutely. Should it happen to you? It should never happen to anybody, and hopefully it won't ever happen again around these here parts. So that's sometimes exposing stuff can result in a good thing. Unfortunately, 6 years, almost 6 years lost.
Right.
Never to be recovered. That's the bad thing about something like this. And I don't know what you can do about it. Taking a look at weather, we're still okay, but things are going to change just a little bit. High pressure, is off the coast today, and cold front will slip in late Friday and Friday night. Good news, high pressure will be back this weekend. Bad news is that a low pressure system may come knocking early next week. The result, northwesterly winds around 5 knots today, becoming southerly 5 to 10 this afternoon. Seas 2 to 3 feet. That's the good part. Sounds and rivers flat, increasing to a light chop in the afternoon. Tomorrow, southwesterly winds 10 to 15, seas 3 to 5. Going to have some 4-foot waves coming from the southeast. That's coming straight offshore from offshore. So that it will be the kind of good part. 10 seconds apart. That's the really good part. They're far apart. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop. Showers. There is a slight chance of thunderstorms later this morning, then a chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. So that's tomorrow. Sorry. Today's looking good all the way around, but tomorrow's when it's going to start breaking back. Saturday, northeasterly winds 15 to 20, gusts to 25 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet, sounds and rivers choppy. My suggestion, you want to get into the ocean, do it today. What does my shirt say?
It says, can't work today. My arm is in a cast.
Figure it out.
That cast.
Yes. Go get the big ones. You
Cigar
need
shirt.
to do it today.
Right.
And that's about it.
Yeah, okay. Today, a slight chance of late afternoon showers, cloudy, then gradually becoming mostly sunny with a high near 82. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, increasing clouds with a low around 64. Friday, showers likely with thunderstorms starting in the afternoon, partly sunny with a high near 82. And Saturday, a 30% chance of showers, mainly starting in the afternoon, mostly cloudy with a high near 74. So. And then we'll have to wait and see what develops next week.
You suppose the members of the College of Cardinals are having a bit of a problem internally, hiding inside the rooms, trying to figure out who the new pope is going to be? I kind of thought from the beginning, because even everybody had prepared for the demise of Pope, right?
Right.
He was dying,
Right.
had been dying for some time. So they knew it was coming. And they had a list of individuals out there. And what was it, a half dozen or something they were to seriously consider?
Yes, it's quite a few, yes.
Whatever. And then so they've gathered and they've been deliberating for a while. We haven't heard anything about it because these are secret meetings. Everything's in secret there. The black smoke is still coming up. No white smoke yet. When the white smoke comes up, they got a decision.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
But
And I watched it last night. I had it on my other TV, just no volume, just watching.
in the background. Yeah. So there's still no white smoke. I kind of thought from going into this whole thing that this would be a slam dunk because they had put the word out
Right.
about one individual, the front runner, shall we say, I guess. Do you think something's come up about him?
I don't know, but I learned something very interesting this morning.
Maybe Chris will call in if he's out there. Chris,
His wife says he's out cold right now. I think he's
out cold.
He cut himself or something like that and is on antibiotics.
Oh my!
I don't know. I'll find out.
How
We'll
did
get
this
that straightened
happen?
out. I don't know.
Oh,
Anyway, I found out this morning, which I thought was kind of cute, interesting, is while these all these 133 voting eligible cardinals are all sequestered, the nuns cook for them.
the nuns what?
The nuns cook for them.
Isn't that kind
feed
of
them.
sexist?
Well, but they make things like lamb and spaghetti
Poor lamb.
and stuff that you cannot hide notes in. They're not allowed to make pies or cakes because they're
Somebody could slip something in the.
Isn't that crazy?
You've got to, this is in such a religious sect as that there would be some chicanery going on.
It's like going, excuse me? Yeah. So, I mean, I've heard of knives being baked in cakes, but.
and saw blades that are sent into prisoners so they could cut their way through the bars.
But they have to be very careful of what they cook. So a note cannot be put into it.
What about, after they go through all of this effort with all of these folks, the Cardinals, and they come to a decision, they will come to a decision. And suppose they get in there and at some point in time, after a pope is picked, and then they come to realize that, whoops, we should have screened this gentleman better. Some stuff has come up. What happens then? Can they do a do-over?
What if a pope that they pick doesn't do his job? Can they remove him?
Can they recall him?
Can they do a recall?
Yeah.
I don't know because I do not understand the Catholic religion.
I don't either.
Um,
How would you like to serve on that committee to select the Pope? I mean, one of what,
Well-
125 or something?
133 cardinals voting,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to have 2/3 majority.
So
Yeah, let me
1/3
see.
of the people could not even like you. That could be interesting.
Well, maybe when Chris, I'm trying. 1605. Is this the year it happened?
Mhm.
There was a fight that erupted.
Oh, great.
The conclave erupted into a
bird fight.
fist fight as cardinals broke bones over who to pick as a pope.
Yeah.
Right here, Dylan. Let me see. That was over 400 years ago. 1605 conclave for selecting a new pope erupted in a brawl amongst the cardinals who were at loggerheads over their choices.
Oh,
They got into a brawl. They got broken bones. And I thought our Congress was crazy at times.
Anybody making choices, it's confusing out there. I don't know what is happening, but we do they have a board of elections that handles their chicanery?
I don't know. Maybe they need a state executive director.
Who would they be? Who would
We've
you
got a
pick?
few now looking for a job.
Yeah,
It was
Karen
bad.
Brinson Bell. Yeah, I wonder if she's Catholic. Doesn't matter. So anyway, hey, we've got a fine gentleman.
Yes,
Did
we
you bring my
do.
mail? That's all I want to know.
I did not bring your mail today, no sir. Not this early.
Well, I've got to have a talk with Stephen, my mail guy.
Mhm.
I like Stephen. Number one,
Leave
he's great,
Stephen alone.
but he has not yet learned to which is junk crap and which is not. Because 92.7% of it is junk.
That junk mail helps pay for my retirement, so leave it alone.
It just goes directly into the recycle bin.
Well, see, I would like to say it's all about the perspective because something junk to you might not be something junk to her.
Yes, it is.
So,
Mine usually walks. I take it out
Come
of
on,
box.
slide up next, belly up to the microphone there.
yes, sir.
Really up there.
How you guys doing this morning?
We're doing fine. I hope you are.
Good.
You got. So, what time do you normally have to go in to?
We
drop
go
off
in.
mail?
We go in at 8.
Do you?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So you're nice and early.
I'm nice and early today. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
he is.
I tell you what, I've noticed a whole lot of letter carriers trucks on the road a whole lot earlier than they used to be on the roads when I was out and about early.
Yeah, our post office tries to get us up, as early as possible so we can hit the street,
And then
Factors
I see a
playing
lot
into
of them,
that.
especially in the wintertime, they got their lights on because it has become dark.
Yeah, I even have a headlamp on
Delivering
too,
That's what I'm
trying to load
talking about.
them trucks up in the morning.
Kind of weird.
Yeah,
Well, you have to understand that the carriers have to wait for the truck to come from the plant,
Yeah, I know
and
that.
you're waiting for a truck to come from Charlotte.
See, not all dogs dislike male
no,
guys.
no, I'm a dog guy, so it's
Yeah,
okay.
Well, he can tell.
Plus, he probably smells mine.
Yep, no doubt. And Stephen, our carrier, he's a dog person.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness gracious! And the dogs, they hear him when he stops. They
yes.
know the sound of that truck
yep. They know
stopping on the road,
They know the
and
sound.
they will run. I'll have
Yep.
3 dogs running straight for the front door, and they sit there and look at him as he walks up and bark, bark, bark.
Mine does the same thing.
That's correct.
He knows when the mailman, the
And
FedEx, the
tails are wagging.
UPS,
So that's good.
the garbage man, everybody comes by.
Okay, coming up Saturday, y'all gonna get busy, and you go. Do you have any Bengay at home?
I don't
You
know.
might need some.
Not yet.
You hope you will need some.
No, I'm good on the Bengay.
Well, you don't like Bengay?
I'm just not a big Bengay guy.
What do you use for all those sore muscles you're gonna have after Saturday?
Stretching,
you're one of those natural guys.
I'm a natural guy, yes, sir. Yeah, I want to stretch, want to stay active at all times. Maybe if it gets to a little extreme point, maybe a little ibuprofen.
Mhm.
I'm not a big Bengay icy hot guy. Never have been.
I just like a heating pad
Yeah, a good heating pad, maybe a nice little Epsom salt bath.
and a hot,
A little candle. Yeah,
candle.
why not? You don't want to take a little candlelight bath?
Oh,
See,
candlelight bath.
see.
Okay.
Girls, if you're listening.
Okay, lady. Let's see the ring.
I do have a ring.
You got
I
a
am married.
You got
Yeah.
a
Oh,
ring.
okay.
Get it, girls.
Hey, well, expectations.
Oh,
Got to expect
just
high.
wish. Anyway, Dylan, coming up Saturday, there's a very serious thing here, and our carriers, you're going to do your part. The post office is doing its part. Now it's up to us and do our part.
That's right.
We need to load these folks down. Sorry, you can take Sunday off and rest, but they need to have they need to be able to load up their vehicles with canned goods, non-perishable stuff. It is for a great cause.
That's correct.
Talk to me.
So this Saturday on May the 10th will be our National Food Drive. It is supported through the post office, but it is done by the National Association of Letter Carriers.
Mhm.
So us light blue, we are city carriers. We work with the rural offices and the rural members of the post office. But on that Saturday, members that volunteer as well as your letter carriers will be going around collecting food from your mailboxes, by your front door, just to provide to the food shelters that the CHEW program that's here locally that we work with. They send those vendors to us,
Mhm.
and we provide them with the food.
Cool.
We've been doing this for over 30 years nationally.
Wow.
And approximately we have collected 1.9 billion pounds over the years.
Good for you.
And here last year, we actually collected 13,000 pounds. So we
Locally.
locally.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Now here it is. I've already told you hurricane season starts the 1st of June. 3 weeks. Go to your pantry, the place that you keep your non-perishable stuff. It's time to purge it. Look at it. The date may be, hopefully it's still in date, but if it's not, you do something else with that. But if it's in date, even if it's a short-lived date, that is what you need to purge. Not to get rid of it, but to give it to somebody who will use it soon. You need to restock your pantry because of this upcoming season. Just in case, because when you start running to the grocery stores, when the thing is on its way, you're just going to get what's left.
Well,
period.
let's talk about some of the stuff that's good to give, like the plastic jars of peanut butter.
Yeah. Peanut butter, granola bars, beans, rice, crackers, really any canned goods.
Soups,
Yes.
tomatoes, stuff that they can use. Stuff that's
Right.
already ready to go by heating it up is really good.
Yeah, because if you think about it, I mean, a lot of these food banks, they get a major of their donations in the holiday season around, November and December. And by this time, they're almost depleted.
Sure.
So we do this national, huge day of collection, and it really helps supply some of these food banks through that season, because some of these families, I mean, they're so insecure on food. I mean, it's very unfortunate. I mean, 13.5% of our population is food insecure,
That's just disgusting.
Yeah. Well, it even hurts my feelings even more.
You should not have to worry about whether you're going to eat tonight or not.
And 14 million of those are kids.
Yeah,
some of
even
those
worse.
kids maybe be getting their only meal, at school. So being able to help that out, that's going to make a big difference for them.
When a kid goes to school hungry, first of all, they're not going to perform very well.
No.
They come home and they don't get a good meal at night. They're not going to be able to do after schoolwork.
That's
They're
right.
not going to get it done. It's not going to be right. Those are the kids that you will 13%. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 13.5% in the population are food insecure. 14 million of those kids.
14 million kids. They're not going to function properly. I don't care what you do. If you're hungry, if you're malnourished, if you're not getting the right food, if you're not getting enough food, you're not going to do your job. If it's a kid, and they need a lot of nourishment because they got a lot of energy.
Yeah, they're a future.
And they expel a lot of energy throughout the day, but they really need this nourishment and they need good stuff. So get some good stuff.
Yeah.
And
everything that we collect locally stays locally. So,
that's even
we're not collecting for all around the place, which would be great to do so, but right now this all is a local, food drive for us, and anybody we get, that food goes through the CHEW program. And
yes. Oh, what a great program.
We've been working with them. Like I said, this is going on my second year of doing this. I've stayed in contact with them, and this year, we got the food drive cards going out this year. So you should have got your postcards coming out within the next couple of days. And I was in the Daily News this week. I was on the front page.
Sure.
So we got spread some good awareness out there this year. I hope it turns out great.
I would tell you, Dylan, since you took over, I mean, there's been a huge difference with getting the word out, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, it's bigger than ourselves, I mean, this is, I take one day a year, we all should take one day a year to donate maybe 1 or 2 cans. And if you can't, that's okay. You're not expected to do this.
Cut your mail off.
No, I'm not going to jail for nothing like that. But it's just one day out of the year, maybe grab it, especially here, we are privy to hurricanes and whatnot. Most of us are prepared with our hurricane bug out bags. So maybe just grab one quick can and drop that off in your mailbox with the postcard so we can establish that.
Let's do a little bit better than that. Here's what you can do. You can drive on over to one of the big box stores. They got big cans. There are not giving any plugs, Sam's.
Right.
Not giving any plugs. Up here on 17 North, there's sort of a warehouse. There was a Piggly Wiggly type of operation. You buy big cans and large quantities of stuff.
Yeah.
These soup kitchens and the places that prepare for big meals, that's the kind of stuff they really need.
Yeah.
Y'all can do that, and you can weight him down. He won't have to do any exercising.
That's
by
right.
the time the day gets
I mean,
over.
I'm starting at 8:00 in the morning, and last year I was collecting food till about 6:00 at night.
Yay.
I mean, I'm running from the far end of Gum Branch to all the way out to the airport, almost trying to collect food off of the rural carriers. So, I mean, we're going to have multiple volunteers, retirees, members, family members of the carriers, and then as any ones that we miss throughout the day, your carriers are also coming through to collect as well.
Ask me.
So.
Well,
you guys are important. You guys got your talk shows all
kind
week.
of an age. They don't want people like
No. That is not. He's saying that. That is not coming
Retired
from
supervisor from downtown.
Well, we ain't no
You
supervisor
ask me?
frenzy here. Hey, you hit me. I'm going home, and you can write me a note.
That's right.
No,
Call
anyway, but now it may or may not rain Saturday. It's okay.
I'll be out there.
The canned stuff is not going to get hurt.
That's
That's
right.
number one. But put it in, get yourself a big old bag and get you some shopping bags and
Get
put
the
this stuff in.
plastic.
Yeah, the plastic bags, please,
Don't
and
use
tie them up so that they can be picked up easily.
Yeah.
Right.
And they can
Leave
be
them by your
transported that way.
mailbox.
Yeah, even by your mailbox, by your door.
Uh-huh.
We are explaining to the volunteers, and most of us all understand how to look, by the mailbox and the door.
Right.
But that's the location we're looking for. If you can, maybe put the food drive postcard with it, so we're understanding
you're
that
sure.
that is for us to collect. That's
Right.
not just a. Don't want to pick up a bag of
Trash.
baby diapers or
Uh-huh.
anything like that.
I
Yeah.
don't want to do it.
So
Okay, so that's the way they can do it. What time do you start collecting on Saturday?
well, the post office starts at 8:00. We normally set up and get everything situated, and then we start to hit the street about 9:30.
Okay,
as
good.
far as volunteers, now the rest of the carriers will just be depending once their mail's up and they hit the streets. But most of us, we hit the street pretty early because we want to hit those walking routes to make sure our carriers aren't, collecting those while they're overloaded.
Yeah.
Correct. And then we start
That would be
to,
rough.
spread out throughout the area. So
Okay, rural routes. Now, some of the guys are not the blue shirts, light blue shirts,
correct.
as
That
you
was my
call
next
them.
point. Yes.
So go ahead. and
So
talk
we're
about
going to
those
have,
things.
some of us will be wearing a light blue, like the shirt that I'm wearing right
Mm-hmm.
now, just to signify that we are part of the post office. But at the same time, you might be having volunteers in some of their personal clothes. Most of us who are going to be in our personal vehicles, we do have magnets on the side of our vehicles. So to signify that we are part of the post office, we're not just coming up and grabbing some stuff off
You're
your
not
porch.
porch pirates.
Correct. And then, your rural carriers, they already don't wear the post office
Right.
uniform. So most of those customers are privy to seeing.
And you're going to know who they are.
Correct.
I know
Correct.
my guy.
Yeah.
All right. So
if
and
the
I know
rural-
the substitutes too. So,
Yeah. And if the rural carriers start to get, overburdened because, most of them, some of them have a 20, 30-minute drive close to it
Yeah.
before they even start their route.
Right,
So, we'll be making trips out to them
They
all
could
day.
call in and say, "Hey, I need a pickup."
Yeah. And then as well as
is there a collection point? If
Sure is. I
Okay.
got 2 of them.
glad I asked.
So the main office is going to be on 719 Newbridge Street.
Mhm.
And then the Bryn Mawr Post Office is 279 Huff Drive.
Got it.
So if you are in town and just remembered the last second, and you want to drop that off, you're more than welcome. The Chew program provides us volunteers at the offices,
Right.
Excellent.
as well as their sponsors.
And
So
their Saturday hours are?
we are from 9 o'clock to the main office closes at 12, but we will be there all day to drop
Okay.
off food.
Well,
So
Dylan, let
any
me-
point of the time.
Bringing up that point, if somebody walks into the lobby, everything's already closed up. Are you advising them to drive behind the building to go into? The
Yes,
parking
most of
lot?
us do have, most of the offices, do have the entrances right there by the
Right.
side. And yeah, if you have cans or whatnot, a lot of the members will be there, multiple post office employees, we're there all day. So
Yeah, but they won't be at the front door.
will not
after
be at the
12.
front door.
And at Huff
correct.
Drive, they don't open it all on Saturday.
Yes,
the
ma'am.
front
So
door.
at that, you would be able to drive around and drop it
Right.
off in the back. It's pretty.
Yes.
Once you drive around the back of those post offices,
You'll
they're,
find it.
they're right there.
There'll
Yeah.
be somebody.
You'll
out
see
there.
tons of people. We live by the docks
Right.
because their trucks back in and collect and whatnot. And I mean, it's like an
Yes.
assembly line. I
We've
mean, we
already
show.
had somebody ask that.
You'll
Yeah.
find them if you drive around to the back door. Go to
That's
the back
right.
door,
Yes.
you'll find them. If you
And
want,
then-
if you want to drop it off, save them the aggravation of having to load it twice.
Yeah. Yes, of course. But like we said before, anything that you can donate, 1, 5, 10, anything is greatly appreciated. I mean, most of these routes have 900 to 1,000 stops on them.
Right.
Imagine getting one can for every stop. And
You
that's
can get-
that.
You'll need a bigger truck.
We need a bigger truck.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be making a lot of trips,
Uh-huh.
So
That's
I
good.
mean, that's okay though. I mean, like I said, this is it's one day a year. We take this time out of our hands to just walk around, to just drive around and collect these foods. For
Excellent.
really the people who have fell into an unfortunate situation possibly, or the children can't get food at
Sure.
home, and I just want to help those people out.
The people get hungry more than Thanksgiving and Christmas.
That's right.
What Tom is
So-
asking, is it better to give small bags of rice and beans, of rice and beans, or large ones? It's not really going to make a big
Yeah, that's
difference,
right.
Tom. You
Sure.
just give
The
from
big,
your heart.
the big bags of stuff will go to places that prepare
Like
large
soup
quantities of
kitchen
food
and all
and
that.
stuff like that.
I mean,
know
I'm
that.
always about go big or go home, So,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what
who's going to complain? But
Right,
at the same time, whatever is feasible for you, don't stretch yourself to worry about getting bigger or smaller bags, or just,
Right.
whatever you can donate is greatly appreciated.
But you
I
can
mean,
get great prices on cans of 6 or 8 or whatever
Mhm.
at these places like a Sam's store.
Right.
yeah,
And
roll up
therefore
into
you got a
Dollar
bunch
Tree.
of little cans, regular sized cans, and you get a bunch of them. And so, that's a good way to do it as well.
Yeah.
And Tom, is you get a couple bags of rice, put them in your mailbox, raise your flag before the carrier comes. This is the one time of the year that you can put non-official things without a stamp in your mailbox.
That's right. Yeah. It's going to be a great time.
To break the rules.
Rain, sunshine, we'll
All
be
right.
out there.
You
So.
rule breakers, this is your chance
to break the rules.
This is your chance to get
That's
one
right.
done.
You guys are funny.
So, anyway, yeah, it's a great thing. This is your. How much did you collect last year?
Last year we collected 13,000 pounds.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Okay,
So-
cool. Let's overload. Let's do it double.
Yeah,
And- And did we mention now no glass, no perishable,
yes.
No ice cream.
Yeah,
no ice cream, no milk,
Yes.
no glass?
No eggs.
This all has to be stuff that if this dropped, it'll be
Peanut
fine.
butter comes in plastic containers.
Yeah,
Mayonnaise
Dylan,
comes in plastic
I
containers.
understand there was a special line for just eggs.
Just eggs? Oh, where's that at? The chicken line?
Trying to help us out
at
here.
your house.
Oh.
I'll be working the egg line for you.
Oh, okay. You need some eggs? I'm sure we can find you plenty around here.
No, it's just with eggs being so expensive. I was just trying
The
to.
price is coming down.
Yes,
It's
they are.
okay.
50 cents.
50
already?
cents a dozen?
50 cents already. It's come down
No, I thought you could get
on
a
an
dozen
average
for
here in
50
this
cents.
area.
Yeah, I can get them cheaper.
Yeah,
Buy
you
some
can.
chickens.
Well, you're cheaper than that. Chicken.
So this will continue. If you miss your mailman, like Dylan said, just take it to one of the 2 offices, drive behind.
If your day of shopping is a Saturday, for goodness sakes, just pick Saturday and go put a special bag, get an extra bag, get a box, whatever you
Right.
wanted to get from those stores, load it full, and take it over and drop it off. Save
And,
them
and,
the
and make
trouble.
sure your cans are not expired either.
Yeah, please do that. If you
Check
buy
your
it,
expiration date on
yeah,
them.
check
At the same time,
expiration date.
too, if it, say for instance you can't get that on Saturday, you might need to drop it off tomorrow, or you might remember the
Right.
day after. We still collect food for throughout the couple days, and
Okay.
then we take it to that shoe program. So
Got it.
Yes.
we're not necessarily driving around to collect those bags
Right.
because the day is on Saturday. But if you forget, or for some forsaken reason, we might have not have noticed
Missed
your
you.
bag or whatnot. We will collect that and
Don't
get
throw it
those back
away.
in there. Yeah,
Don't
please.
throw it away. Just
Please donate, bring it to the office. We normally collect those for the couple
Excuse
days
me.
to come, and then
Mhm.
at some point we drop them off to the chew
Got it.
program. So
I will have to give a shout out to United Way. They're
Great
the ones
place.
that come out there and do a lot of the volunteering to help unload the vehicles. And so thank you, Raquel, and United Way for what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
and actually, it's funny. Some of them actually, I think might have been she might have served with my dad when he was in the military. So
Really?
they all know my family before I even
Really?
took this over. So yeah,
Well, you're a homeboy, aren't you?
I am. I'm from the area. Yeah, I've been in this
we
area
talked about
for,
that last time.
for a long time.
Yes, you
And
have.
I
He's a
am. I
homeboy.
live in Hubert now too. So I've always come back home, and that's why I really took the interest in getting involved with this, because this
Right.
is my community. This is
Right.
who I take care
Right.
of.
Ed,
Ed Cole.
No, Ed
No,
Cole.
he's-
No, that's
yeah.
different.
We determined that last visit.
okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
He is a
that.
Cole.
That was a year ago.
I am a Cole, but Cole just it's just great. We're
Yeah.
all over the
Cool.
place.
Good. Dylan, thank you for coming in.
Of course, thank you for
Now-
having me
now
and
it's
letting
time
me
to
spread
get
the
on the
awareness.
payroll.
We
Yeah.
will definitely mention it again tomorrow.
Yes.
And
we'll
I'll
talk
put
about it.
something.
And I
on
did
our
bring you
page
guys a
later.
poster, so if
Thank
you guys
you.
would like to hang up a poster or
Yes.
anything,
We'll also get a
Definitely.
picture of it and post it on
Yes.
Facebook and YouTube.
I'll make sure that. Did you put any of that on your Facebook page?
I have been spreading stuff all over the
I'll
place.
steal it
this
from
year,
there
so-
then, and
Yeah,
I'll
and I
spread it.
I shared my article. I've shared lots of things for the
Excellent.
food drive,
Yeah,
so-
I'll definitely go on there and steal it, and
Yeah.
we'll push it
Yeah.
through tomorrow.
And I could even hold the poster for you. Why not? Better than the coordinator.
There you
you do that, and I'll take a picture.
You're going to do
got
that,
it,
and I'll,
you got
I'll
it.
keep talking.
That's
All right, I
fine.
like
sounds
that.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much for letting me come on here
Oh,
and
thank you. Thanks for
spread
doing
this awareness. I wanted to get on. Thank you for calling me.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't know why I didn't save your phone number.
It's
and I felt
okay.
so bad, but wanted to make sure we got in here a little bit closer to the date. So that the
Okay.
listeners would.
You could always
it's
just
been a
remember
couple
ask
days.
Rondo or
That's
one
right.
of those other.
And I'm always going to comment on the page. I like to
Yeah.
listen to it in the mornings on the way into work,
Excellent.
and a
Well,
lot of my
thank you.
families listen as well. So
Well, thank you. We
Feel free
appreciate
to make
that.
comments.
And you're
Yeah.
welcome at any time.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me
You
on.
too. Be safe out there.
Appreciate it.
And not all dogs are bad for postman.
I keep mine locked up, definitely. All right, let me take a picture.
All right, we're going to be talking with. It's going to be Miller time here in just a couple of minutes. So we're going to have our wonderful friend Chris Miller going to be chatting with us here this morning. As soon as I don't know whether he's dropping kids off today or not, but it's cool. But he'll be calling in here in a short period of time. Oh, we got all sorts of good things sports wise to talk to him about. So it'll be interesting. What else have we got here? Just a few hours after more than 100 masked
Mask?
people with masks, anti-Israel agitators, hear about that one? Stormed the Butler Library at Columbia University in New York City, pushing past campus security as students prepared for finals yesterday afternoon. The college folks said, help, help, help. They called the NYPD and they came a running.
But you know what? They didn't call the police department until like 5 hours after it started.
Well, they let them big up. They let them build up into a big group so they could arrest a bunch. They got 30 of them. It took 30 of them to the jailhouse. More are expected to show up. U.S. Immigration and Customs, and this is what's going to get their butts. Of those that they laid habeas corpus on, they're also having ICE come by and check them to see if any of those people are, when they're fingerprinted, are illegal aliens.
Right.
Ruh-roh. One officer reflected my exact thoughts. Time to make a point. And that is exactly the way I look at it. It's time that these folks got a lesson in Americanism.
Right. Well,
You
anyone,
break the law, you go to jail, and if you're not supposed to be here, you go away.
everyone has the
That could be
right
a
to
song.
peacefully protest.
They do.
But when you use violence,
But if you're an
vandalism,
illegal alien, you don't have that right.
that's true, or destruction of property. But they're saying already that they have strengthened up the security at Columbia to where you have to have a university ID to actually get in there.
Oh, wow.
So this is going to be
Are
interesting.
these the same kinds of people that promote the fact that you should not have to have an ID to vote?
Well, the thing about it is, it's
think about
going to be very interesting to see if these are actually students or maybe some alumni or maybe some staff. So we'll see.
Or maybe just some outside agitators.
You know what? If I was paying all that money to go to college, I think I'd just want to go to college and learn.
Well,
Not spend all my
would
time
be,
protesting.
Mhm. Well, it'd be a mess out there. So whatever. President Trump came up with a new pick for Surgeon General Wednesday.
Who did you
Okay,
pick?
okay, all right. I've got
I-
things to say about it.
Okay,
He says he'll now nominate Dr. Casey Means for the job. He
Wait a
has
minute.
great credentials, has never been caught yet doing anything he shouldn't have been doing. Of course, the senators have started digging yet.
Right.
Question. A question for all
Mhm.
y'all. And please call us and tell us your answers or what your thoughts are. With all this downsizing for useless positions and programs that we've got going on across the board in this country,
Right.
especially at the federal level, just exactly what does a Surgeon General do that actually benefits us? Wait a minute. I'm trying to hear you. You speak a little bit louder. Look at the mess under the last dude. We certainly could have gotten along without him, right? Any doubts?
Why have a surgeon?
So
general?
why not just leave the position unfilled and save the money?
I agree with that because you
What
have
does
your
he do?
Department of Health. I
What
mean, what
does he
does
do?
RFK do?
What did he do? What did the last Surgeon General do besides really screw up and get a lot of publicity?
Maintain a
Ain't got
title and get a
money.
paycheck.
And then he got double dipping too. Come on. Has anybody got a thought? What does
Wait
a
a minute,
Surgeon
wait.
General do that really benefits
Okay.
you and me?
This is it. He is the operational head of the United States Public Health Service Commissioned Corps.
That's a figurehead.
That's all he is.
It's a figurehead. That means he does nothing other than run his mouth for political gain.
We're paying for this?
Yes. Again,
Well, isn't
with all
RFK?
of the downsizing for useless positions and programs that are going on right now, is there any reason that the position of Surgeon General should actually not be eliminated? Give me a reason it should not be eliminated. Oh, it's always been there. Yeah, Stop smoking. Surgeon General says, don't smoke. It's bad for you. What else has the Surgeon General done in your lifetime that you can remember that was significant?
Nothing other than the warnings about smoking. That's the only thing I really remember. I
The
mean, during
Surgeon General-
COVID,
The Surgeon General warns you not to smoke. No,
during the COVID
The
time,
Cancer
there was a
Society
little
did
bit
that.
of noise from him. But,
noise is right.
Yeah, the U.S. Surgeon General is nominated by the President of the United States and confirmed by the Senate.
So why
Why?
even nominate anybody? Donald, stop it.
Well, okay, let's back up. RFK, what's his job?
He's in charge of the health.
Why not put that under the health department then?
Why just not eliminate it and just let the health?
That's what I'm saying.
Because the Surgeon General's not going to do anything other than talk with the health director or the health departments or the guy in charge.
The Surgeon
Secretary.
General reports to the Assistant Secretary for Health.
What does he report? Hey, I'm still on the job. What have you done? Don't smoke.
The Surgeon General is the overall head of the Commission Corps, a 6,500 member cadre of uniformed health professionals who are on call 24 hours a day and can be dispatched by the Secretary of Health, Human Resources, or by the Assistant Secretary for Health and Event. That's a lot of double. That's a lot of double.
That was a big yawn for y'all who didn't catch it.
That's a lot
It
of.
means nothing to anybody, right?
And I wonder how much we're paying.
Useless money
What's the salary?
wasted again. He's not even worth the discussion for Trump to have.
I'm gonna find out how much do they make. All right,
Tell us. I want one of y'all to just make a motion. We're gonna just abolish this.
I don't think I can even say this.
I hope it's
The
gonna be cussing,
average
isn't it?
Surgeon General's salary in the United States is $406,373 as of May 1st. This May 1st.
Just pay somebody $73 not to do the job. Good morning. How are you, sir?
This is Miller time.
I know it's Miller time.
Good morning, my friends. How's everybody doing this morning?
I was good until I read how much a
it's,
Surgeon General makes.
I want to be Surgeon General.
I want to
Hey,
be
Donald,
Surgeon General.
I could vote for you if you pay me $400,000. You keep the rest of it.
Well, Rayford, we've already, me and Lee and myself, we've already discussed. We're going to nominate you for the Pope.
Yes.
We can do it. We'll take it. I'll take it. Well, I can stay here though, right? I don't have to go anywhere else. I can't go to DC because they won't let me carry a gun.
Hey, he sent me a message. I just hadn't had a chance to tell you about it, but he has nominated you for the Pope.
The Pope.
Pope.
Well, the Pope can carry a gun. Pope can do whatever.
What about
Pope
dog
wants.
catcher? Can we nominate? Speaking of mailman, can we talk? Can we nominate you for dog catcher?
Actually, dog catchers can carry guns because they have to from time to time, because there are mean dog owners out there that come after you. Not mean dogs, mean dog owners. You need to defend yourself. Y'all thought I was going to say something else, didn't you? There are more mean dog owners than there are mean dogs.
Yeah. But there's even more meaner cats.
I've got two cats. One of them was mean, but he and I came to an understanding.
Ask your daughter.
You leave him alone and he'll leave you alone.
No, I'll do whatever I want and he will abide by my whatever I want.
Holy moly.
We came to that understanding. He thought he was in charge. He's in charge of everybody on earth but me.
Well, go on with your bad self.
There was the wood shed out there. We had to have a discussion.
Go on with your bad self.
Another Maine school district has taken matters into its own hands in the state's dispute over transgender athletes in girls sports. You know where I'm going now. Tuesday this week, the board of directors for Maine's regional school unit, a school unit there, voted 7-1 to rescind a policy that allows trans athletes to compete in girls sports. Okay, Chris, what do we got what do we have in Onslow County, your territory?
Right.
Well, it is a very controversial subject.
Mhm.
You're hearing more and more of those reports, and you are hearing more of people who disagree with that situation taking more of a stand. So you're hearing a lot of that stuff surface. I think there was a fencer a few weeks ago, or maybe a couple months ago, that took a knee before a competition, and
Ruh-roh.
that made that circulated in the news cycle. So you're hearing more and more of that. Those situations have not yet come to Onslow County or surrounding areas. I know maybe they've surfaced in other high school districts, maybe not in North Carolina, but in other states. And it's one of those situations where if it ever did come, you'd have to, obviously I would have to be neutral. I would have to. I would do if that situation ever came and it surfaced, and I would be very neutral and try to explain both sides of the story. And just because you have to do that, you have to be neutral. I mean, you're in the news business. Your job is to report the news, and as long as you can't show bias. I mean, you guys know that you can't show bias. You can't act like you support one situation over the other. So if that ever came, you'd have a lot of conversations and a lot of difficult conversations with coaches, athletes, parents, and everything. But again, you pretty much report what everybody else is saying, and you let other people decide for themselves what is right and what is
As
wrong.
long as the reporter, that would be you in this case or any other case, as long as the reporter will not shy away from asking the questions that people want answers to.
No,
There are reporters who will shy away from that because they think they will offend somebody or they will look like they're biased. No, ask the tough questions of all sides now. No problem.
yeah, and there's situations where recently I've had a interview with it was a whole Swansboro situation, and me personally, I didn't agree with what Swansboro was doing in terms of the conference stuff and everything,
Uh-huh.
but I had a conversation with the principal, and it was very professional, and she understood that I had a job to do, and you keep on stressing, look, this is my job. I'm going to be unbiased. I'm going to be fair to both sides. I'm going to let everybody, both parties discuss their point of view, and again, other people can decide for themselves what is right, what is wrong, and I think the principal understood, and she was very receptive, and there's other situations where I've had to talk to local officials that maybe I didn't agree with what they had to say. You remember that situation quite a few years ago about the young lady that wasn't eligible for school sports, even though she was a straight A student. I mean, there are times when I've had to write stuff that maybe I agreed or disagreed with, but you have to be neutral in those situations.
Sure. Well, again, as long as you don't back away from asking the tough questions from all sides now, I don't have a problem with it. And that's always the one thing that I always, when I had to do reporting way back when, I always explained to people, those who would want to shy away, when you start trying to duck me, you just kind of like, maybe it was the cop in me. I don't know. Maybe it was a holdover. But anyway, when you start dodging me or ducking me or not being available on a regular basis, time and again, then I become suspicious. And I may start to look a little bit harder to try to find out what was going on. Not that I was after something. I just wanted to know why. And that's the way things would turn out sometimes. Sorry for you, because you were generally trying to duck me for some reason or another.
Yeah, and I think people with common sense understand. People in the media business with common sense understand that. Just for example, if it's a criminal case, there's certain things that law enforcement, for example, can't discuss.
There are rules, yes.
But, but there's situations where we've had to interview school board members, or we've had to interview local officials and or government elected officials, and they kind of run around the question. If you just explain, hey, I can't answer that, and here's why, or we know the answer, but we will discuss that answer in due time, and here's why, I think people would understand, hey, okay, they're not hiding anything. They just can't discuss that topic at that moment because they don't want to compromise the case, or they don't want to get in a situation where they could get sued right then or there. So you want to cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure everything's covered. So I think as long as you relay those type of messages, I think people understand that when you can't say certain things.
As long as it's not somebody making rules on their own, there's one member of a board or one person like that, they're taking it upon themselves to make the rules as they go along and say, well, I know everything there is to know about this, but I can't share it with you. You'll have to do the two words that I've hated when they're put together. Trust me. No, trust me. And God I trust, everybody else I want verification. Period. How's that sound?
Yeah. So where's we've had those type of conversations. I've had those conversations, and it's just part of the job. But again, as long as you're staying fair and you remain unbiased, that's your job.
That's it. That's what it's about. Okay, let's talk about what's going on now. We got summertime almost upon us.
We got a lot of softball and baseball.
We got softball, got baseball. What's something that always bugged me.
Yeah.
Softball and baseball. Baseball, and back in my days, baseball was decided by the size of the ball, and the softball was a bigger one, easier to hit, supposedly, right? Why do we have softball and baseball? Why can't we just have one ball?
Well, because they are very similar sports, but they are different. They are completely different.
Uh-huh.
I think baseball, softball is a little bit more dominated with pitching and defense and playing small ball. And then baseball is, those guys, a lot of those guys just try to go out there and swing for the fences for home runs. So, that is a very good question. Why the softball is a little bit bigger than the baseball, but again, they're two different sports. In girls and boys basketball, the girls basketball is actually a little bit smaller than the boys.
What?
Yeah.
You mean they can't compete?
I know where you're going, and
Stop it, Rayford. Here's another difference between softball and baseball. On baseball, the fields are larger. The bases are further apart. They're like 90 feet apart, as opposed to softball, 60 feet apart.
Uh-huh.
The bats are different. The pitching style is different. So they're like two
What do you
completely
mean the
different
bats are
games.
different?
The bats are different.
Are they bigger or
Softball bats
smaller?
are slightly wider than baseball
Oh,
bats.
so you got the bigger ball and a bigger bat, so a better chance you could hit the thing.
And softball games usually are 7 innings, where baseball games are 9 innings.
Also, the weaker group of people play softball.
Oh my gosh, softball
Well,
pitchers
in
throw
high school,
underhand.
in high school, the baseball games are still played 7 innings. So softball will play 7 innings too. But I swear, it's not as easy as people think, because in softball, because they're pitching underhand,
Yeah, I played
Right.
both.
the ball can rise, and you actually have pitchers who specialize in those what they call rise balls.
Uh-huh.
It goes up, whereas pitching in baseball tends to go down.
You want
or,
them to, the pitcher wants it to drop at the base just before the guy swings, right?
Yep.
That's what the purpose is.
Again, they're two different sports, but it gives our young people some great opportunities. Speaking of baseball, the Jacksonville High baseball team, they won 8-5 at Person High School on Tuesday night in the first round of their
They got a
playoffs.
good coach, then, don't they, too?
Yeah.
Guess what else?
Josiah Zamora's done a great job, and he's also the Ospreys head coach.
There you go.
Yes, he is.
Yep, and then so they, weather permitting, they are scheduled to play at South Johnston on Friday in the second round of the playoffs. So
Yay.
Jacksonville's
Wow.
won
Go.
5 straight games, and they had a tough schedule and a tough start, but they've really come on strong. And that was a big win for them Tuesday night.
Are any of the Cardinals, are they, they're not signed up for the Ospreys, are they?
Not at the moment. They've signed a lot of non-area players, players from Canada, Japan,
It's non-area.
different states. Quite a handful of players who played on the Ospreys last year are returning. So and once I get out of the high school season, they will have their first practice a week and a half before the season opener, May 31st. So I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but a lot of these baseball players are still in baseball shape, and they're still playing in their college tournaments. So it's a matter of just kind of getting to know each other and getting to know each other and kind of working on the fun, working on team chemistry. So, but yeah, May 31st is their season opener at home. It's a Saturday. So, but yeah, Josiah's done a great job, and he'll do a great job with the Ospreys.
Well, the thing is, those players are coming in. They already know you got to hit the ball. You got to run around the bases. You hit it as hard as you can and try to keep the other guy from catching it, right? Done.
Well, yep. So, like I said, a lot of it's just kind of team chemistry, get to know each other. Like I said, quite a few guys from last year's Ospreys team will come back. So they've already, know the lay of the land and know this, how things work. And, they'll be tasked to kind of show the other guys, newer guys, hey, this is how we do things. This is what we do. So, the Ospreys, it was a lot of fun covering that team last year.
Oh, yeah.
I think, I just stress to the community, come out and support. I mean, I think a lot of the opposing teams were really impressed with the crowds. Obviously, the Friday night and Saturday crowds were a lot bigger than the middle of the week ones. But, people really enjoyed it, and the activities that are going on during the middle of these games are really fun too. And and Lee, in case you're wondering, there will be alcohol and beer sales again this year.
What?
Thank you.
Is there something I need to know, Lee?
No, not at all. I mean,
You don't want me to know? Is that what you mean?
There's nothing wrong with having
least you're
a
trying to-
cold beer at a baseball game.
Not a thing. If you like beer, I don't
Hot
like beer,
dogs.
but that's okay. Hot dogs,
It's
and
all
chili, and
American.
cheese. I'm
It's
good
all
to go.
American. And I imagine
Sorry,
that.
I had to put you on the spot.
Yeah,
I-
but
yeah,
you should
you
have seen
did.
their eyes.
What?
They want to say, "What are you?"
Oh, you
Okay.
know, but on a hot summer night,
Yeah, if I like
Baseball under
the
the
beer,
lights.
cold beer would be really good on a hot night.
that sounds really good with a hot dog and a
Mm.
cold beer. I'm going to have to get some hot dog buns today.
But
I want a hot dog
I
now.
really enjoyed the Ospreys because when you're at a high school game, there's certain strict rules about being on
Right.
the field, photography and media and everything.
Right.
And, I can be on the field during in between innings to get pictures of them, throwing the ball around and
Warming
everything.
up,
But
right.
once the game starts, resumes, I have to be in the dugout for pictures. But with the Ospreys, because it's not high school sanctioned, I can be not right on the field where I'm instructing, interfering with play, but I can be outside of the dugout, and I can be, kind of close to where they're playing, and
Right.
as the coaches don't have a problem with it, and as long as I get out of the way during the ball, and I know the risk to get hit
Hey,
by a foul
Chris,
ball.
you got a Nikon?
I have a Canon actually.
I'm sorry, I got a 500 millimeter lens
do
for
too,
Nikon.
Chris.
That works well.
I have a Canon. Well, the one thing about the games with the Ospreys is the Patinos have made this family fun, family friendly. So
All right. Well, so,
at Jacksonville High School and some of those other high schools, you can't even bring in hot cocoa. So we're not letting it go.
I'm sneaking it in this year.
No,
if I go
Jacksonville has
somewhere.
always been good.
Well,
to
yeah,
us.
Jacksonville does well. They
Always.
come on through.
That's right.
Just leave your
So,
bazooka in the car.
So, Chris, and with graduation right around the corner, what's next in the area of local sports until school starts up?
Well, we will have the soccer playoffs do start next Monday, so
Okay.
we'll have some soccer teams that I think that we're going to go pretty far. We always have like we talked about the Ospreys, that's going on. The Big Rock Blue Marlin tournament
Yes.
in June,
Yes.
second week in June.
Yes.
So I'll kind of be following that all line, and then if we have a local boat, somebody from Swansboro or even Jacksonville, then I'll make my way up there and see if I can talk to those ladies and gentlemen. But I'll kind of follow it from on my computer throughout the
Right.
week, and then go from there. And then just kind of various different things. Before you know it, it'll be late July, and
I know. Time for school. Time
Yeah,
for football.
we're looking forward to taking some trips as a family. My wife secured some Savannah Banana tickets in early
No.
June in Charlotte.
Some what?
So
Savannah Banana ticket. I want to go
What is
see them
that?
so bad. It's a baseball team, and
Oh.
they
What's that got to do with bananas?
they're called the Savannah. But Chris, explain it. You're the
it's kind of like
sports
the
guy.
Harlem Globetrotters, but baseball. And the players will come to the batter's box and instead of bat on fire and hit the ball with a bat on fire. A pitcher will come in wearing stilts and throw the ball. They just do. It's like
They sing.
They're
They
clowns.
dance. No.
They're clowns.
No.
Yes, the Globetrotters are clowns. I've seen them play several times. They're great clowns, but they're
No,
really
it's
good basketball players too.
Oh yeah, no, it's a great atmosphere, and people really enjoy it. It's one of the things where tickets, you have to be in a lottery to even be in a lottery to even get a chance to get tickets.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
my wife's been trying for the last couple of years, and then that's going to be in Charlotte early June, and then later on in June we're going to go back to my favorite soccer team from Germany is actually going to be playing
Oh,
in
nice.
Charlotte late in June as well. So she secured tickets for that. So we're we're looking forward to some trips in the summertime.
You've got such a great wife.
Early in July, you might want to check up with our friends over there at Carter Community College, because they're going to have a Spanish mackerel tournament. There's only one Spanish mackerel tournament, lots of king mackerel tournaments, but there's only one Spanish mackerel tournament, and it's raising money for a great cause, the Carter Foundation over there. So that might be a great thing, because boaters come from everywhere.
I'm going
they
this
do.
year to the Big Rock.
And a lot of it's not about the money. A lot of it's about the bragging rights, about the the fishing and
all of it's about the
memories.
bragging rights and the eating.
No, so we'll they take those fishing tournaments pretty seriously.
They do, absolutely. All right, Chris, you go out there and have a good time and play safe.
All right,
Be safe.
friend.
All right. Thanks,
All right, you take care.
Chris.
It's always fun to have Chris in here. He's so
Oh,
well
he's
rounded,
fun
and
to
he can
talk
take a
to.
joke in a heartbeat. So that's the good
Oh,
thing.
yeah. And he can get you too. In a
Yes, he
heartbeat.
can. He's
I'm like, what?
I like doing battle with him. He's fun. Lots of
Yeah.
fun
Yeah,
with that
yes.
kind of stuff. Okay, who we got?
There we have got Joy. Joy to the world.
Joy to the world. How are you,
Good
Joy?
morning.
How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I was just going to reference something that Chris maybe knows, well, I'm sure he knows about. In June, and it's called the Eastern Carolina. It was put on by Jones Onzo last year, and several organizations here in town, I think the Sports Commission, the city, different people are putting on. It's the tournament for high school basketballs all around, from New Bern, everywhere. Sometime in June, and I've got the information somewhere, but I can't give it to you. And I'm sure Chris is probably aware of it, but they had it last year, which was very successful. I think that starts on Thursday through Sunday. And there's, gosh, I don't even know how many high schools from even out of our area are even coming to participate. That was the event that I graciously met.
They're coming here.
Yes, sir. And
Okay.
they'll be playing all of our high schools.
Excellent.
It's like a tournament, and they have it set up for so many days, and so many schools play at this time, and this they've got it all scheduled out.
We got stuff.
And it's the same-
Lee has details.
Chris has just sent me a message, and he said it's the East Coast Invitational
That's
that
what
you're
it is.
talking
Yeah.
about, and that they've had that tournament like for the last 20 years.
Wow.
So wow.
Yes.
Now, is it your grandson that's
Yes,
playing in it?
he's playing in it. Yes, he's playing in it. Yes, he is.
That's
Is Donald playing in it too?
Yeah, on the sideline.
Go team, go.
That's the event that I graciously met Commissioner Tim Foster when I spilled a whole cup of Dunkin' Donut coffee all
I
over
remember
the
that
basketball.
story. Yes, I remember her telling that story.
Yes, remember
Whoops.
that? That was the event.
Now wait a minute.
that
Now
I
did
graciously-
Tim come running to grab the donuts off the floor?
It was coffee, honey. On the
Oh, coffee!
Yes.
I thought you said
floor.
donut.
And I looked over and I said, "Oh my gosh, there is Tim Foster!" And I was like, because he coaches the I forget what school he coached, but
Southwest usually.
I forget which one it was. And I was like, who in the world? I was like pretending like it wasn't me that had spilled this great big extra large cup of coffee and on the floor. But it was just something that when Chris was mentioning what was happening this summer, it's a really put together a lot. If you go to the site, you can see a lot of sponsors this year, a lot more, I think, than normal. I might be wrong about that, but I'm just going to pass that on. That's in June.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Just to let you know, and if Chris put that on there, that's good. I was just sometimes there's some things that we get our minds on, different things.
I know. I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yeah, it's really nice for the family to go, and you can either go for a day or you can go for the whole tournament. It just depends on what your preferences are. So I just wanted to pass that little bit of info around, and I won't be taking anything in to drink for sure.
Use a sippy cup
You really?
or one of those Camelbacks or
Or one of
something.
these Yetis. Yeah, I have a big Bubba that I just Yeah.
Okay, we have a graduation next year. I mean, a graduation. We have a reunion next year.
I haven't heard. Frank has not. He's talked about it before.
No, I'm talking
But-
about a high school reunion, class reunion.
I don't know.
You graduated in '66, didn't you?
So much I could say here.
No, sir, I did not.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Whoops.
Just add a few years,
Whoops.
maybe 4 years.
Whoops. That's close enough.
Yeah.
I think your class has quite a few. It seems.
Has-
But it seems like each year they seem to be getting smaller and smaller and
Well,
smaller.
they
So
do.
it would be nice if,
yeah, we do.
it would be nice if we could, for Jacksonville, to have one.
We did have some years back. We had like 3 years or 4 years worth at one time. So that's always a smart thing to do. When you get up to the 60th, that would be a great thing to do.
Well,
So
you
I
know,
don't
you can crash any one that you want. We used to do that. We used to crash all the reunions. I had a great time.
Yeah, they have a site. It's Jacksonville Reunions, I think.
Right.
It's
Mhm.
It's on
I think that's what
Facebook.
it's called. And lots of times they put out there they're having a reunion and all classes are invited.
Yeah.
I know that a class, I think of 72 or something, I forget which class, they had one last year, I think, down Sneed's Ferry Way.
Mhm.
But I don't know about the turnout, but they invited other classes to come also.
They didn't tell me. They never called me.
They didn't, I just saw it on
You have to
Facebook.
be
Oh, there. You got to look at it on Facebook.
have
Forget
to
about
be-
it.
on
I
social
share-
media.
I shared it to different people.
You didn't call me. You don't share it
next
with me.
time-
You send me an email
All right.
or call me.
Next time I
You
hear-
got my numbers. Lord of mercy. You're right there.
Okay, next time I hear one, I'll give you a. How about any year you want to go to?
All of the above. If they're going to have a party.
Okay.
He went to
Next
mine
time I
last
hear a
year.
party,
I did.
Yes, you did.
Why?
You were the photographer.
Oh, well,
Which
I had
is
an
still-
official reason to going there.
Yeah, but you and Robbie both came. It was nice.
thank you, Lee.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I remember
Keep
something
him
about
in
that.
line. So I need to email Lee for email to remember to tell you, so you
There
won't
you
forget
go.
to attend.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Well, it's kind of like Kelly in here. She says, Lee, remind me I got to leave in 15 minutes.
Now I have all these
Okay,
alarms set,
uh,
these sticky notes, so
Well,
I can.
well, when she says that, I said, as soon as she says that, I said, Kelly, you got to leave in 15 minutes.
Mhm.
There's your reminder. Because I'm not going to remember it in 15 minutes. My God. Okay.
Well, y'all have a great weekend.
Thank you,
I
you
just wanted
too.
to sort of put that out for. It's a fun time,
All right.
and you meet new people. Good time, good entertainment, clean entertainment.
Yes.
Oh, well, that
yes.
too. Well, whatever.
Yeah, I follow you
Unless
when
you bring,
post about
unless you
your
bring
grandson.
coffee, it'll be clean. Okay. Thank
That's-
you.
I don't even know what you're talking. That was someone else. I don't know who that was.
That was Donald. Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Donald's her husband, for those who don't know. Offshore, yeah, we're still looking okay right now for the next day or two, but things are going to change. High pressure will move off the coast today. It's here now, and it's becoming a little unsettled. A cold front will slip in late tomorrow and tomorrow night. The good news is high pressure will build this weekend. The bad news, it'll be followed by a low pressure system probably early in the week, next week. But meanwhile, today, right now, northwesterly winds around 5 knots. That means pretty much next to nothing. They're going to become southerly 5 to 10 this afternoon. That's going to be the beginning of the change. Seas are building, or 2 to 3. Sounds and rivers are currently flat, increasing to a light chop this afternoon. Tomorrow, southwesterly winds 10 to 15, seas 3 to 5. I told you it's going to get worse. Not bad, but kind of sloppy it will be over the next day or so after today. Waves are going to be coming from the southeast today at about 4 footers at every 10 seconds. They're gentle rollers, but they're still 4 feet high, and you're going to ride up and you're going to come down. I don't see anything on the weather forecast about those waves being real steep. That's the good thing. One thing you guys can check, if you're a boater, you should know it. Check how steep those waves are. A 10-footer that rolls and they're only 10 seconds apart is a whole lot different than a 4-footer that rises up and comes straight back down and they're like 4 seconds apart. That makes it kind of sloppy, as you know.
Yes.
Sounds and rivers, a moderate chop. Slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow morning, and then a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon tomorrow. Northeasterly winds on Saturday. Kick it up 15 to 20, gust to 25 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet. Sounds and rivers choppy. Those seas are going to be close together. Sloppy.
Okay, today a slight chance of late afternoon showers. Cloudy, then gradually becoming mostly sunny with a high near 82. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, increasing clouds with a low around 64. Friday, showers likely with thunderstorms starting in the afternoon, partly cloudy with a high near 82. Saturday and Sunday are both showing a 30 to 40% chance of showers starting in the afternoon, mostly cloudy with highs near 74. And then we'll have to wait and see what Monday, Tuesday brings us.
The 2028 Democrat candidate for president, currently Congresswoman from New York, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, better known as AOC. She and the border czar, Tom Homan, are having a battle of words, and she's losing.
Really? Yeah.
He opened fire on her, warned that the tables have now turned after she taunted him at a town hall addressing the Trump administration's deportations. He said, "I take pleasure that I can live in her mind rent-free every day, but we all know exactly what she's doing. She's educating the worst of the worst on how to evade law enforcement. But the tables have now turned. She's educating people how to get prosecuted. It's illegal to not comply with an order issued by the president or ICE. It's a crime to take steps to not comply with ICE removal orders or not comply with ICE actions taken into custody." It's not going to surprise me for this border czar when I start seeing judges and congressmen and congresswomen who interfere with lawful ICE activities to find themselves being led away in handcuffs. They are not above the law. It would certainly be fitting to watch that happen. A judge sneaking somebody out to a back room or try to get away because ICE is there to lay the habeas corpus on them is illegal. And these people should be arrested when they do it. Maybe we could get their mugshots, like the ones we have here of Donald Trump. Once that happens, we could call this entire wall the Wall of Shame. What do you think?
No.
Yeah, when we get those people violating the law and judges trying to sneak people out, or congressmen or congresswomen encouraging people on how to break the law, telling them what to do, how they should do this, sneak around and get away from the feds. No, they should be arrested, and we should get their mugs and put them up. I think it would be great.
There's not enough room on the wall.
We could build
Not
bigger
enough
walls.
room.
We got bigger walls. We got
Yeah.
more walls.
We could definitely move our table out so
Yeah,
we'll
we
have
could.
a lot more room to put stuff on the wall to be seen.
I got a big warehouse out there.
We missed some important news this morning.
Not yet.
It just happened in North Carolina.
We haven't missed it yet.
We haven't missed it yet.
No, we got 30 minutes.
Let's
about
talk about it. A 6-month battle over a North Carolina Supreme Court seat ended yesterday
it. Yeah.
when the Republican challenger, who had embarked on an
Finally.
extraordinary effort to throw out thousands of votes, conceded the race. The
About
challenger,
time.
Judge Jefferson Griffin, said in a statement that he would not appeal a federal court ruling issued on this past Monday that ordered the state elections board to certify the victory of Democratic incumbent Justice Allison Riggs.
You know, I'm looking at something down in another state
Right.
dealing with it's a personal thing, dealing with a case with the death of a person, right?
Right.
And somehow in this town, they called the coroner over
Mm-hmm.
to help with the investigation. Not the medical examiner,
A coroner.
a coroner. Now in Georgia, to
Right.
become a coroner, a person first must be a U.S. citizen. Thank God. A resident of the county for which he serves. Thank God, for at least 2 years. A registered voter. At least 25 years of age. Have a high school diploma or equivalent. and not have been convicted of a felony. Additionally, they must complete a really strenuous 40-hour training course at the Georgia Public Safety Training Center and 24 hours of recertification every year.
Okay.
Really? To be a coroner, to help with an investigation of a murder or a suicide or some other unusual, unexplained death? You have to be 25. You could not have been convicted of a felony, and you must complete 40 hours of training at the Georgia Public Safety Training Center. And that's it.
Well, do
And
you
you
feel?
can pronounce somebody dead and to tell us what the cause of death was.
Well,
Really?
wouldn't the cause of death actually have to be a collaboration between the coroner and the medical examiner?
What medical examiner?
Well,
When there's no autopsy performed?
when there's no, oh, well, okay.
There's no medical person here
Mhm.
involved at all. You've got a coroner. A coroner. You see the coroner's van on LA TV, LA movies and stuff, right?
Right.
But that's a trained medical professional. That is somebody who is basically a medical examiner. That's somebody who can actually do autopsies. They can look, they're trained.
Right.
We had a medical examiner here, the first medical examiner that I had personal dealings with. His name was Gable,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Walter Gable.
Dr. Walter Gable.
Dr.
yes.
Walter Gable,
Remember him.
I forgot what the case was, but it involved somebody getting shot. And when you move into an area and they will have you answer some questions your first time on the stand because they know you're going to have to come back and forth. They're going to qualify you as an expert, quote unquote, expert witness.
Correct.
So when the medical examiner, brand new to the area, was to be questioned to verify, to show and see if any defense attorneys would object to it, that this would forever be an expert witness, the question asked of him by the solicitor, the / prosecutor at that point in time was, Dr. Gable,
Mm-hmm.
you're a medical examiner, yes. How many autopsies have you performed? He said over 5,000.
That's way too many.
And he was in the Navy, and this was Vietnam era. Yeah,
Yes.
he had been.
Way
Okay.
too many.
So anyway, over 5,000. Oh, that's a lot of autopsies. How many of those involve gunshot wounds? He said all of them.
Oh, wow. Well, I would just say,
Dr.
I want to
Gable,
just like
Dr. Gable, I think I will move to have you without objection
An
from the
expert
defense or
witness.
the judge or anybody else declared an expert witness forevermore, basically. And the judge said, I have no objections. The defense attorney said, oh, not me.
well, let me ask you something. As a former law enforcement officer,
Mhm.
Isn't it the norm to have, like, on a murder investigation or on a death investigation, let's say,
Uh-huh.
and the medical examiner is performing the autopsy? Is it not the norm to have your lead investigator on the case present at the autopsy?
An investigator, if not the lead investigator. Somebody is generally there to, it kind of depends, but generally,
Right.
yes,
Right.
there will be somebody there. I was not the investigator. I was the photographer, but I
Right.
attended many, many autopsies. I was
right.
present. And we always had, I don't recall one that one of the investigators
Mhm.
was not there on. It could be that they're tied up, and some of these things have to be posted. And honestly, some of them, without going, are apparent and obvious, and the cops know, the medical examiner knows, who's also been to the scene. Dr. Gable would always go to the scene.
Right.
Don't you move that body. Don't you touch that body.
I remember
Don't you
that
do that
when
until
they called him out. I
do
was
not
like,
touch that body until I'm there. And at the middle of the night, a police officer would generally pick him up, or a deputy pick him up
Right.
and transport him. But because that was the way he wanted it, he wanted to know from the beginning to the end what was there. Got
Well, I
to one, and he
asked-
said, have you rolled him to check for his ID? I said, doctor, you're tricking me. No, I don't touch him until you
Touch
talk
him
to
till
me.
you get here.
Okay. And he smiled.
Well, the case that I'm watching, the court trial I'm watching, involved a gentleman that was found deceased, and he had a gash in the back of his
He
head.
was run over and killed by that woman.
No, he was not run over and killed by her, but he had a gash
did
on
he
the
die?
back of his head. That it's undetermined.
Uh-huh.
The coroner could not determine the cause of a death, whether he was hit by a car, hit by a baseball bat, fell, hit his head on the frozen ground.
Or was,
But the point I'm
or was
making
run down
is,
and he hit his head.
they have got expert witnesses that the FBI brought into the case. Only they
Oh.
can't say the word FBI during this case.
Why?
Because it is still an open investigation with the FBI. So they cannot say that the FBI hired ARCA, who did this whole complete investigation, showing that there's no way he could have been hit by the vehicle. It's a long story. Plus, he had no other injuries below his head down. No other injuries, not even a bruise.
So he fell down and they ran over him.
No, he just had the gash on the back of his head, which caused a spider fracture. And that was the cause of death. He could have slipped in the lawn on the ice and fell and hit a rock.
After the big fight with a woman.
They had an argument. What boyfriend, girlfriend doesn't have an argument?
So it was a big fight.
No, it was not
What
a
were
big
they fighting
fight.
about?
Him going into the house. They all had been out drinking all
And
night
so
long.
she said, don't come into his house. And
You
then
don't
she-
know
then
that.
she
You
ran him
don't
down.
see. You've already taken a negative view on this woman without even knowing the specifics of the
did.
case.
She did.
And I'm gonna tell you, even if she had hit him, and
Oh,
not,
so
no,
now
no.
you're saying it's a possibility.
I'm saying that even if she had clipped him and not known that she had did.
Clipped him now.
Well, because he had no injuries below the head.
Was she drunk?
Yes,
So she
it's
was
not been proving that she was
negligent
drunk.
driving the vehicle, so therefore she's.
He was just as negligent.
It doesn't matter. She was driving a vehicle.
Oh, listen to me. Listen to what
And
I
ran
have
him
to.
down.
Just listen to what I have to say. Okay, it's not been proven yet that she was drunk. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is there's so much reasonable doubt in this case, mainly because the state troopers who investigated along with the city police did such a bad, very biased job in investigating it. But what I wanted to say is when they did the autopsy, no law enforcement officer at all showed up for the
If
autopsy.
there's a medical examiner doing it, they don't have to be. It's generally they want to be so they can.
Well, see, the
keep
medical
notes of it all.
examiner had no knowledge of what might have caused the gash in the back of his neck.
He's not supposed to.
But the medical examiner testified that if I had known a few specifics of what may have happened, it might have led me to a conclusion. But the medical examiner has come back and said it's inconclusive. They have no way of knowing what caused his death.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I just
Blunt force
want to
trauma
ask
to
you.
the head, right?
That coupled with hyperthermia.
So he either froze to death or force
And they can't
Trauma.
decide which.
blunt force trauma.
They have no way of knowing for sure.
He either froze or he died
They
of
had-
injuries.
But see, the thing about it is because he was out
Then you
in
get
the
a new-
elements.
Then you need to get another medical examiner if you cannot tell whether the blow killed him or whether he froze to death.
See, they said that he died from hypothermia, where others are saying no, he died from the blow to his
Who's
head.
others?
And other coroner. But the thing about it is, no one has been able to get solid evidence
Now,
as to what exactly happened.
Here's the other thing. Let's just say, okay, let's say he did die of hypothermia.
Uh-huh.
Why didn't he get up and leave when he was freezing to death?
Because he was probably unconscious.
Because he was run down. that would be a contributing factor to the case of
But see,
murder
that's just
of
it.
hypothermia.
They've not said this is a contributing factor. They said it's all undetermined. And no law enforcement was present during any of this.
Nah,
The whole thing is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
it was
in
a
my life.
party, right?
It was, they all had been, it was all these cops. They had all been out drinking.
So they had a lot of alcohol was involved.
Yes.
So the
alcohol
woman
on-
was driving the car.
right. But right now, there is an issue as to whether or not she was legally drunk because they never tested her till the next
if she
day.
had any alcohol in her system at all,
But that doesn't mean she killed him.
if she had any alcohol and ran him down, she can be charged with it.
She didn't run him down.
Yes, she did.
No, she did
She
not.
clipped him with her car. You've already said that.
No, I said if that had happened.
Oh, then why is that even a factor?
But see, ARCA has
She did it.
proven.
She did it.
ARCA has proven that there is no way at
Who is
all.
ARCA?
ARCA is a professional company that deals with biometrics, bionics. They put all the factors together.
AI.
They said, no, these are real people. The FBI uses them. And they said that there is no way because
Hired by
had
Comey.
she hit him with her car, he would have had injuries consistent with that.
Did
He
Comey
did
hire him?
not. And the prosecution is trying to say she clipped him. It threw him 30 feet up in the air. He spun around like a pirouette and fell down. There's
Spun
no way
around like a
possible.
what?
It fell down to the ground.
You mean spun around like a pirouette? Did you
Yeah,
say that?
like a pirouette. That's
Like
what they're
a
saying.
dancer? So
They are using the word
he
pirouette.
was out there dancing.
They're saying that when she clipped him, that he flew up in the air,
dance of
spun
death.
around, and came back down. It's very weak. Everything is very weak. But no, I just wanted to ask you that
He did
because
it. She
I
did
know
it.
when I was Rayford, you don't know that.
I knew.
When I was watching
They
yesterday,
arrested her, didn't they?
and they were talking about the medical. Well, it's because you've had the lead investigator who, from the very first day, said, "Oh, she's guilty. We're going to go after her. We're going to make
Sure.
sure she pays for this."
Absolutely.
And he texted about 8 of his buddies, including other officers, and called her the C word and called her the B word
Mhm.
and started talking about her medical issues that she
What kind of
has.
medical issues does she have?
She has multiple sclerosis.
Uh-huh.
She also has.
And she was drinking.
There's lots of people with MS a drink.
I'm just asking you a question. I wasn't making.
You're
a
just
judgment
trying to
call.
make her look guilty without even
I
knowing
don't
the
have
facts.
to. She's guilty. Federal judge is blocking the president from shuttering 3 federal agencies, dadgummit, that assist public resources, minority businesses, and mediation services. Why doesn't he just do away with the Surgeon General? Nearly 24 Democrat-led states sued to stop Trump from closing the Institute of Museum and Library Services, the Minority Business Development Agency, and the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service. U.S. District Judge John McConnell sided with the states on Tuesday, affirming their arguments that the closings violated the separation of powers. Is there anyone among you who does not believe that we have too many? Well, let's just stick with the federal government for a moment.
Right.
State government, we'll talk about that one day. Is there anyone who doesn't believe we have way too many federal agencies? Maybe some of them are doing
Mhm.
the same jobs. They step on each other's toes. We got too many different federal law enforcement agencies. We got the post office. We got a federal law enforcement agency involved. They are a federal police agency. Oh my God. We got U.S. Wildlife. U.S. Wildlife, that I can understand. We got the FBI, the CIA, the DIA, the SI. We got every alphabet agency that you can imagine out there doing things that each other. The
Right.
DEA, the NCIS, the U.S. Coast Guard version of the NCIS. Did you know that?
Right.
Really?
I'm
We got
not real
all of
familiar.
these folks, and we got all of these folks doing pretty much the same jobs, and they step on each other's toes. Yes, I can see wildlife cops; they're a special agency. I can see
Mhm.
DEA, a special agency. Okay, a lot of states have a state police force. Period. They have a like they would have a / Georgia Highway Patrol or whatever, and then under whatever I think Maryland for let's just take the state police in Maryland. You got the state police in Maryland; they handle all state enforcement. Inside that unit, they have special investigators, criminal investigators to do things right, like the
Right.
SBI here in North Carolina. But
Mhm.
it all comes under the Highway Patrol. They're state police officers.
Right.
I don't know whether the state, if they have a wildlife enforcement agency there, that should be a state cop too. Yes, they can enforce the wildlife laws, specific specialties, but they all come under state police. North Carolina, we sort of have that under the North Carolina Department of Justice.
Wait,
But
too
then
many
we have
agencies.
then we have wildlife enforcement. Then we have marine enforcement.
Well, why can't
we
wildlife and
have-
marine be together?
Because the wildlife people handle the stuff from basically the water line and the waters that are fresh waters. They handle them from there
Right.
and do with the game fishing and all game warden stuff, the bear enforcement.
But wildlife officers have to walk right by that fishing pond to
Well,
get to where the bear's at.
No. They do the fishing. They do those kinds of the marine fisheries handles nothing but the saltwater stuff. As much of that work is done for the commercial guys, but the wildlife guys handle the freshwater fishing. They handle those licenses and that kind of stuff. They do all of that, and the enforcement of wildlife laws, deer hunting, bear
I
hunting.
just want to know when we're going to be able to flounder again. That's all I need to know.
You can do it today. Just don't get caught if you catch one.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
If you catch one and get caught, it's a double catch.
When are we going to be able? When are they going to lift the restrictions? Was it 2026?
I don't know. I don't fish for flounders. I don't even like flounders.
You know, I don't know if you've been following the story about the 3 police officers, well, former police officers in Memphis that allegedly beat a suspect, and which resulted in his death. But 3 former Memphis officers were acquitted Wednesday of state charges, including second-degree murder and the fatal beating of Tyree Nichols after he ran away from a traffic stop in 2023. A jury, which appeared to be all white, took about 8.5 hours over 2 days to find Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith not guilty on all charges after a 9-day state trial. After the jury's verdict was read, the defendants hugged their lawyers as relatives of the former officers cried. One relative yelled, "Thank you, Jesus." But the 3 defendants still face the prospect of years in prison after they were convicted of federal charges last year, though they were acquitted of the most serious charge then. What happened was Nichols, a 29-year-old black man, fled a traffic stop after he was yanked out of his car. He was pepper sprayed and hit with a taser. 5 officers who were also black caught up with him, punched him, kicked him, and hit Nichols with a police baton, struggling to handcuff him as he called out for his mother just steps from his home. And he died 3 days later after the beating. But there was a video that was put out. It was footage of the beating captured by police poll camera. Also showed the officers milling about, talking and laughing as the victim struggled. His death led to nationwide protests and raised the volume on calls for police reforms in the United States. But what I don't get is why federal charges they were found guilty, but yet the state found them not guilty.
Okay, now kind of sum that up in your own words. What was the incident? What basically occurred?
It was a man was stopped over a traffic violation.
Okay,
And when he stopped, he took off running.
okay, and he was chased down.
And he was chased down. And in the video, which I've seen the video, but sometimes videos don't tell the whole story, they pepper sprayed him.
Okay,
They beat him with batons. They
Was
kicked
he?
him.
Do you saw the video?
Yes.
What kind of resistance, if any, was he putting up?
At what I saw, the part of the video I saw, which I say videos can only depict, but he was laying on the ground screaming for his mother.
So he was not.
He was not resisting. No.
And they were beating him at that time.
Yes.
Okay. And he died.
He died 3 days later
So
from the beating.
he was charged under state statute with murder.
Right.
Under a federal statute, probably civil rights violations and whatever.
Yes. Now Mills
Now, were they all black?
yes,
Why are they charged him under a civil rights violation?
because his civil rights were
Okay, that's the
Right.
explanation I was waiting for you to
right.
say. Not because he was black,
Not because he was black, and
but
not
his
because
other civil rights. Every person,
violated.
black, white, pink, or yellow, has civil rights. So he was deprived of his civil rights according to the federal government. They found him guilty, right?
Yeah, prosecutors argued that the officers used excessive deadly force in trying to handcuff
Okay,
Nichols.
now, was that the federal trial or was that the state trial?
This is the state trial.
The state trial, we weren't talking about that one. For the civil rights violations, they deprived him of his civil rights, right?
Right.
And that's deprivation of his civil rights resulted in his death under federal statutes.
Correct.
Okay, so he's guilty of that. They are guilty of that. Fine. What led them to find him not guilty of murder at the state level?
The state level is saying that it showed that they did not use force.
Did they kill him?
Yeah, he died 3 days later from the
Did
injuries.
he fall down accidentally and hurt his head and have a spider fracture in the back of his head
Stop.
on frozen ground?
Stop. They said 5 officers who are also black, which black
5
colored,
officers.
yes, caught up with him and punched and kicked and hit Nichols with a police baton,
But there
struggling
was-
to handcuff him.
But there was no force involved?
Not by him. And
No, I'm not talking about by him. He was under arrest. They placed him under arrest, and he obviously resisted by running. So that was resisting right up there, right?
two of the
Fleeing to elude.
two of the officers pled guilty in the state charges and didn't go to trial. They just went ahead and pled guilty.
Okay. So the others pleading not guilty, they were tried. Were all 3 of those others complicit in the actual
Yes.
attack?
Prosecutors
You've seen the
argued.
video, but were these 3 also involved in beating him?
Yes, there was 5 total.
All 5.
2
were.
went ahead and pled guilty.
I understand, but you saw video of all 5 of them beating him.
Yes, it shows it. You can get it anywhere on the
I
internet.
don't want to see it.
Okay, prosecutors argued that the officers used excessive deadly force in trying to handcuff Nichols and were criminally responsible for each other's actions.
Mhm.
They also said the officers had a duty to intervene and stop the beating and tell
Stop.
medical personnel that Nichols had been hit repeatedly in the head, but they failed to do so.
Stop. That is
Stop.
that is exactly the key that I was headed for.
Right,
Every one of those guys was a cop.
right,
Every one of those guys has the responsibility, the law, to enforce the law. And
Agreed.
whether it's in stopping another cop from doing it, if there had been 3 cops there and 2 civilians there and 2 civilians were beating this guy down, and these 3 cops did not stop those 2 civilians,
right,
they would also be charged.
right.
If they sat back and looked and watched and listened and didn't do anything, they would be negligent.
Yeah,
Would they
one of
not
the
be?
cops
That would be
acknowledged.
meaning they're guilty of murder, as far as I'm
The one
concerned.
that pled guilty said he acknowledged on the stand that he had a duty to intervene to stop the beating, but didn't.
Okay, so he's guilty. The other guy's guilty, and they found the other 3 not guilty.
Correct.
So those other 3
The defense is
did
saying
the other 2 did the other 2 people who pleaded guilty, did they testify against those other 3 officers?
I'm taking it they did.
Yeah, well, you don't
Defense
know.
attorneys attempted to refute accusations that the officers used excessive force and followed police policies and standards. Defense attorneys have said the officer who acted with the most violence was Martin, who kicked and punched Nichols several times in the head, but is not standing trial because he pled guilty.
We didn't have to stand trial.
That's
He
right.
pleaded guilty. That's
That's
good.
right. The defense also seemed to score points with their use of force experts who testify that officers on trial acted in compliance with police department policies and widely accepted law enforcement standards.
Well, I would ask the police department, will you rehire these guys? Or will anybody rehire these
question.
guys as a police officer? The answer will be no.
Mills, also the one that pled guilty, testified that he regrets his failure to stop the beating, which led to Nichols' death from blunt force trauma. Nichols suffers tears and bleeding. He suffered tears and bleeding in the brain.
Tears, yeah.
Yes, tears. Yeah, you're right, tears.
Sauce
As
felt the
Nichols
same.
struggled with Bean and Smith, who were holding him on the ground, Mills tried to pepper spray Nichols, but ended up spraying himself.
Okay.
That happens a lot.
It does. That's amazing.
That can happen
Who
easy.
we got?
We have Joy.
We have Joy. Joy. You're back.
Yeah, I have a question when she's finished.
Okay. I'm
No, you
finished.
go ahead. I
I'm
can read
through.
this. This is crazy.
My first question would be, why did he run?
Well, that's really, in all honesty, unless he was running because he had shot a cop or he would
Had drugs.
killed somebody. No, not
Yeah,
drugs.
or
but if he had killed somebody or, beaten his wife to death or, whatever,
I've seen him run for drugs.
then I have
Yeah.
too. We chased him for running for drugs. But that would be a really good reason for chasing him down and using force because he's used force against somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering. You said traffic stop, and I'm thinking, well, he took off running, so there had to have been something that he had done prior
Oh,
to this. I mean,
Whatever the
I don't
traffic
think
stop
he
was.
Surely
was
was no
killed.
angel.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, I don't-
Why was he stopped?
Oh,
George
it
brings
was
up a good
Exactly.
question.
It was a traffic violation, and they said that they suggest that he was on drugs.
That
and,
doesn't matter.
had
Suggested-
drugs in the vehicle.
Well, that's but they chase him down.
That's why he
immediately.
ran.
That's not grounds to give you a beat down.
But-
You're not posing a threat by your staying.
There's
at
more
large.
to it than just that, because in December, the U.S. Justice Department said a 17-month investigation showed the Memphis Police Department uses excessive force and discriminates against black people.
I disagree with anybody who does a blanket thing saying the Memphis Police Department does this. Individuals do it.
So there was a lot
Mhm.
more than
So-
just that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Anybody that does a blanket policy like that, I give them no credit whatsoever.
Well, Memphis won't sign the police reform agreement with the DOJ following.
So,
all
what
of
kind of
this.
reform do they need to do?
I don't know. We're going to have to delve in to see
Mhm.
what kind of police department Memphis is. God.
Well, I've been to Memphis. I've seen some of the police officers. I've dealt with some of the
Doesn't
police
mean they're
officers, but
good.
I didn't have
Now then
anything
again,
bad
if he
about
was
them.
on, now let's just say he was on drugs, and it took 5 officers. I guess. I mean, I don't know. I guess my first question is why traffic stop could have been. I don't know. That would just be that was one of my questions when y'all were talking about why did they stop him and why did it take 5 to.
Well,
where he
They
needs to
said they
be.
believed he was high on drugs. He was trying to fight them.
Yeah.
Okay, you've
What
got
did the autopsy
five.
say?
You've got that's just it. You've got 5 officers who are trying to subdue him. 5 officers hopefully should be able to subdue him
No.
without using deadly force.
Well, they weren't planning to use deadly force regardless. Beating somebody with your stick is not the
And kicking them in the head.
kicking them in the head. That's a stupid act. That's
Yeah,
that's
very
an act of an
stupid.
irresponsible person
Very
who's never should have been a
stupid.
cop. That's not necessarily a sign that every police
Right.
officer uses Nazi boots to kick people in the head.
Right.
No.
So without this agency or whoever was doing this report, I would question that until I see something different.
Oh my gosh.
No blanket policy, no blanket statement that the police department did this. No.
The defense lawyers claimed that the 2 of the officers could not see the strikes that they were making to this victim's head because they were blinded by pepper spray.
Well, if you were swinging, it does not matter.
Step away.
You need to recuse yourself from that scene. I wouldn't want to be still doing anything. You might hit the other
Well,
guy.
yeah,
You might hit
if
a
he was sprayed and he was tased, I mean, he must. I don't know. It sounded like me. He had to been on some heavy duty drug. I don't know, or the adrenaline. I don't know.
He was on the ground.
Yeah.
Once they got him
Yeah.
on the ground, I don't think the use of deadly force should have come in.
The kicking in
No,
the head
I
when you're
agree.
on the ground is an
Right.
act of meanness and violence.
Yeah.
Irresponsible meanness and violence.
Yes, he was
Yes,
on drugs.
I agree.
Yes, he was not of great character. But
Uh,
does that
He didn't deserve
mean
that. It doesn't
was
matter.
he
That doesn't-
resisting to the point that they could not control him? I doubt it seriously. They were being mean. Some people get mad when they have
Yeah.
to chase you, either in
That
a
sounds
car or when they have to run you for a
You're
while.
right. You're right.
They get mean, and that's not right. Some people,
No.
I did not even say cops, but some people will do that.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. I almost did it yesterday.
You almost did it yesterday. Oh, let's talk about that for just a
What
second.
happened?
Whoa, who did?
Time to go
Poor
home.
Donald. What'd you do?
No, from the cops. I was pulling in Mama's driveway, and you know, when I bring her home, you have to go sort of slow. I had my blinker on, and some black truck was behind me and was blowing his horn because I was going too slow. So I sat on my horn. I said, "I'm going after him." Mama said,
Oh,
"No, you're not
Lord
either."
of mercy. God, Joey. Listen
But
to
that
Mama.
was my first question. I was just thinking. One more thing, real quick. I know you got to go. Was the gentleman that was subdued or that passed away, which I'm sorry to hear, was he a man of color or black?
Yes,
or
they were
was
all
he-
black.
Yes, they were all
They were all black.
Cops and the
Okay.
victim. Yes.
My
That was it.
my
Y'all
point
have a
is,
good
on the
Uh-huh.
federal side,
Yeah.
you can violate a person's civil rights, or even if you are of the
Yeah.
same race.
Regardless
It doesn't
of
matter.
color. Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
so. Okay, Joy, thank you.
Thanks, Joy.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. But for 5 cops to take a druggie down, somebody that's pretty stones,
Right.
they're out of their mind or whatever, they become very strong.
Right.
Every
Yeah.
cop's dealt with that. Okay, but 5 people to do it, you do that because you're trying not to hurt the guy.
Right.
One cop with one blow
Yes.
with a baton can put you to the ground, break your shoulder, your collarbones through here.
Right.
You're going down.
And you're not going to fight that much after that.
You're going down. If you one good cop can do that. When you take 5 of them to beat him on you, that's a beat down, and that is just wrong.
And you know, that's
5 of them
sad.
trying to subdue him, physically hold him,
Right.
to get cuffs on him.
I remember one
do
night
that for his own safety.
we were working at the Holiday Inn, you know, it's on Friday, Saturday nights. We had to walk the beat there. And we had one room where we had to call the rescue squad for this one that was overdosing or high on drugs. And it took like 3 of us to hold him down. He went crazy. And, you know, and so I understand that part. When they got him on the stretcher and got him in the back of the EMS truck, he had to be tied down, restrained.
Yep.
And I remember he come up and he was trying everything. And that one EMS worker, she looked at him and she was holding a little flapjack
Oh,
in her hand. She says, "You come up off of that stretcher one time." And boy, he shut right down then. He was like, But yeah,
Well, he
I've
understood English.
seen it happen.
well, you know, it was like the one kid. I mean, the kid that I had to deal with, he was 15 years old. 15
Right.
freaking years old. He was about half my size.
Mhm.
Seriously, he probably weighed a buck
Mhm.
and a quarter. I was 210 at the time, 6'2". And all I was trying to do was hold him. He was high
Right.
on PCP. I was trying my best to hold him. I
Mhm.
had him in a bear hug and we were fighting.
They get abnormal strength like that
It's
when
like,
they're high.
holy crap. Would
I mean-
somebody come over here with some cuffs?
I can understand them if 5 officers having to try to subdue him,
I can too.
but kicking him in the
Nope.
face,
Nope.
him eating their boots repeatedly,
Nope.
that's a little much.
Okay, tomorrow we got our state senator here going to be in the house,
Yes,
and we
he
got
is.
questions, and y'all can ask them
Yes.
questions too.
Right.
I rather really request that you send them to us, but something may pop up during the interview tomorrow that you just got to ask a question. Feel free to
Yes,
call.
we're making a list.
He
and
will do it. He will
Got to
take
get
your
it to him
call.
this morning.
Senator Mike Lazar joins us tomorrow morning. That's at
Right.
I'm looking 8:00.
7:30.
7:30.
Well, he didn't really say, so I imagine whenever
we'll find
he
out
gets
whenever
here.
he gets here. We'll take it.
Yes.
Have a good rest of your day, and stay tuned tomorrow
Absolutely.
for some local history, this area history
Oh, I love
that
it.
predates me, the beginning of the historical event, but one that I participated in later on in life. It was interesting. It happened on this date or tomorrow's date.
Okay.
A
All
bunch
right.
of bunch of years back. A bunch of years back before
right.
before my birthday.
Sounds interesting.
We'll
All
see you
right.
tomorrow morning. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Be safe out there, and stay tuned for us. We're live and local. Real talk. We're always awake, never woke. Bye.